All right. Hey guys. All right. We're going to get into a very swift, immediate message. I don't know what it's going to be just yet, but what is the message for right now in this very moment, or like within just a couple hour time frame? I don't know. 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours is what was in my head. Not a clue why. It's just what popped up, and it was as soon as I grabbed this crescent moon necklace, which does glow in the dark. So I don't know if it's like get batteries in a flashlight because later on we'll need it, be able to glow in the dark, be able to see in the dark, something along those lines. It was just weird that I wasn't intending to do an immediate message today, but I was like, I got to now. Six of Pentacles, the Hermit, the Fool. Got a lot of, at least the appearance of masculine energy in this. So we could have a message more specific that a masculine is figuring something out. If they are contemplating, I mean, here it is darkness, but we have that firelight that is glowing in the darkness. So we could have somebody that is coming out of their hermit mode. I mean, now we have brilliant light here. We could have somebody that has found the answer in the darkness. And this could be happening like, an epiphany moment for a divine masculine. I will say, be mindful of where we're walking, no matter if this is the masculine in this story or someone else. You don't want to make a misstep walking along a curb. Be careful of that. Don't trip and roll an ankle over, if it's somebody is out hiking or walking in the dark or something, don't trip over that rolled up edge of the rug or trip over the dog or, something along those lines. There is something about light and dark in this story. And so I think those are the little like warnings and little like positives, as well as like stay safe kind of messages coming out. Sometimes I really like when this rare, I don't usually do an immediate message. I think I've only done one like 2 or 3 times maybe. I might go ahead and let them become more of a normal thing when the mood strikes me, because I actually really enjoy these ones. Even though it doesn't start with anything other than I need to do one. But I always kind of like the messages that come out. They're a little bit more fun for me anyway, because it's stuff that just comes out of nowhere. And I love that. To have this, I don't know, again, we've got all this darkness with, bolts of light. We see a masculine and a feminine standing there side by side, holding hands and walking away together. It's very much something about, maybe it's Elvis, take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. There is something, there's millions of songs about, hold my hand, take my hand, give me your hand. That I'm also hearing, because I want to be your left-handed man. Lately, I've been down by the riptide, taking a walk on the dark side. I want to be your left-handed man, and I love you when you're singing that song, because I got a lump in my throat, and you're going to sing the words wrong. Sorry, I can't even think who sings that one right now, but that song is on my mind right now. There's also Stand By Me by Benny King coming in. The Tower says there's a collapse of ego. It almost feels like if this masculine for the longest time put himself like up, someplace on the shelf, right? Here he kind of like climbed up on the roof and didn't want to let that ladder come down where he could, climb back down the ladder, or didn't let somebody else climb up to be with him. I think that's changing. This is the equivalent of like a visual of an ego. The tower is way high up. He's way high up. Somebody put themselves like in the ivory tower. Nobody could touch them. Nobody could talk to them. He had withdrawn. And I'm thinking that the ego is telling him, this is ridiculous. I have created my own misery. I have kept myself away from others. By the way, somebody could be on a ladder. Again, be careful on step stools, ladders, anything or stairs, like walking up to an upstairs apartment or a business or something. Hold on to the handrail. But it also says it's time to descend from a place of isolation and come back down to earth, or, come back down from wherever somebody has, placed themselves in like a little hermetically sealed capsule, or this little bubble where nobody could touch them, nobody could talk to them, nobody could interact with them. I feel like this is a masculine who literally was, I won't let anybody talk to me. I'll just stay away from everybody. And this is him saying, that's ridiculous. Why would I do that? I'm missing out on the sunlight. I'm missing out on, interacting with others who do care about me. And I'm also missing out on love. What made you go into that in the first place? Can we see like one card on what made you go into that. Okay, Queen of Wands. He was very much in love with somebody who, I don't know if she played her cello, her violin to him, meaning, she had a story of her own to tell, something that was sad. I don't know if there was a manipulation in this, but there was somebody he was very much in love with at one point that he felt was his Two of Cups. Okay. I know I said one card, but I still have to see, why would that have triggered you to withdraw? Page of Cups, Four of Cups. Something went haywire, and he had told himself that was the love of my life and there was no way to fix it. And it has been this disappointment, this regret that he's had all this time. Now, I don't know if he ever did offer an apology, or if he offered one and it wasn't received, or maybe it never even got to her, or maybe he couldn't bring himself to offer the apology. I could believe that could be the case if he's been in this withdrawn, tucked himself away kind of space for quite a while. Let me just ask, what is the epiphany today in this immediate moment that is making him say, oh my God, I see this so differently now? Three of Cups. I don't know if he's recently seen people laughing and talking together, and there's something about, this is time for the harvest. This is an appropriate card for where we are right now. It is harvest time. It is, October. Six of Wands sideways. I almost wonder if he either had a super heightened sensation of shame, if he made a fumble or he made some kind of a mistake, and then he didn't know how to just say sorry. I mean, maybe that's all it is I just didn't know how to say sorry, because if you make any mistake at all, no one's going to want you. Maybe that's what he told himself. But then he's noticing that other people hug it out, get upset, say sorry, get back to being good friends, get back to having nice relationships, almost like he's been an observer. He has not interacted. He withdrew from heartbreak, or I shouldn't even say heartbreak. He withdrew from somebody that he loved and saw as a Two of Cups because he owed them an apology and he just couldn't give it, or didn't know how to give it, or missed the opportunity when he should have said he was sorry. And I think for the longest time, he's like, well, that's a done deal. There's no way back. But it's like he's observed other people that had rifts that have also healed rifts. I mean, that's what friendship and family and any relationships are about. I mean, there's a lot of grace that has to be given because we humans make mistakes. And it almost feels like that is the epiphany for him today. Wait a second. I mean, it doesn't feel good to have to say I'm sorry, but on the other hand, the burden of sitting there up on the rooftop in your ivory tower saying I'm not going to deal with anybody because I owe somebody an apology and I don't know how to say it, probably they wouldn't want it anyway. This is like, wait a minute. The only way back is to go ahead and say I'm sorry. Maybe he needs to practice that. I need to say I'm sorry. Actually, he sees that there's at least other people that he's noticed are able to enjoy each other's company. Maybe he overhears people, maybe he's at a restaurant or something and he overhears a group of friends and hears them, chatting and saying, I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell you that for a long time. And, they're hugging it out. They're toasting, drinking wine, and everything's back to normal. Maybe he observes that or overhears it. And he's like, oh my God, that it can work. Like you can say sorry and people will accept your apology. I feel like there's a lot of messages here about fumbling, about being in the dark, about being careful where you tread. I think that goes along metaphorically with him realizing, I hate to make mistakes. I hate to fumble things. I hate to do things that make somebody else upset, especially somebody that I love. I haven't known how to say sorry. I just thought if you mess up once and you must have to leave, you must have to stay away, even though that's not what you want to do. But, if you make any mistake, that's it. You can never go back. And I think this is the breakthrough moment where he's like, oh my God, that's not the way that goes. Everybody messes up, but then you say sorry and, you do better. I think he's able to lower his, we'll say ego, but I think it's more than that. I think it was someone who, let me go to the tower. I think he had so much regret. He didn't know how to make things right. Death card, Prince of Pentacles. Yeah, this is like, maybe he's never really said sorry to anybody in his life. Maybe that is just not the way his life has gone. This has been a lifelong lesson. This is our most ego drenched Prince of Pentacles I've ever seen. He's covered in, and surrounded by the peacock, right? This is somebody who has a lot of pride, and this is a transformation. We can actually have more pride sometimes in ourselves, like the right kind of pride when we say, I know how to be humble enough to say I'm sorry. I can say sorry. I know how to be humble enough to do that. The sun, this is him seeing the benefit in being able to be like, I'll lay my cards on the table. I'll tell you, I'm sorry that I said something, or I miss you. Maybe he couldn't come back to her because it would have required him to look, like weak, or I can't bring myself to say sorry or to ask her for a second chance because, that would be weak, and I'm not allowed to be weak like that. He's seeing it differently. It's actually stronger to be able to express how you feel and clearly say what you mean. Here we are again. The difference is from the darkness to the light. I definitely feel like this is wonderful. This big change that Tower has freed up his ability to say, wait a minute, my real strength comes from me being able to speak my truth. Somebody could be having, I know it's October, so that there's all the pumpkin flavored desserts and stuff, but I think more like butternut squash soup. Somebody could be eating something like that today, baking squash, chopping things up into like little cubes. I'm picturing somebody that is making some kind of like squash, like succotash or something. And just the squash are here so heavily. We have a lot of like fall oriented, flavors and such. I don't know if somebody's cooking with wine as well. I know they're here toasting and drinking champagne, but that doesn't speak to me at all. It feels more like I can almost smell somebody's making like I don't know if it's like a like slow boiling like a beef and wine, stew type thing on their stovetop right now, but it very much has a feeling of fall. And maybe that's important too. Maybe this person's ego is falling. Maybe that's the play on words here. But the immediate message is this character has had a massive change in the way they look at things. This is their Two of Cups. Can we go back to that Three of Cups card? Because that's the moment that they really started to say, it doesn't feel awesome to have to say sorry, or it doesn't, it does feel wobbly to reach out to somebody and say, I care so much about you. I would love to see you again. Could I see you again? It is, scary. Maybe he's overhearing these gals say, I was almost scared to reach out because I thought maybe you'd never want to talk to me again. Being able to verbalize that also is like a relief sometimes, to just say, I was scared you wouldn't want to talk to me. I mean, that gives the other person a chance to say, I always want to talk to you, even if we're having problems. Of course, I love you too. Problems are just a part of life and a part of human relationships. I think this is a person who thought one issue and it's over. And they're changing that persona or that idea now. I do want to mention before we go back to that Three of Cups card, we do have somebody here with the Aries energy, possibly Leo energy, possibly Scorpio energy. And then we also had Virgo, and we had more Aries. Let's see, did I miss anything else? Our feminine could have been a Leo, Sag, or Aries. Let's go and take a look. That Three of Cups, since that is the epiphany moment, can I see anything else about that? This feels like what's happening like today in this moment of time. This is the breakthrough. Wow, King of Swords. There's the Hermit in the reverse. There's the Justice card. We have him now coming out as a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, who's ready to break his silence. There's that Hermit in the reverse. I'm done being silent. I can finally admit maybe I made a mistake. There it is. I can own this and I don't feel fearful anymore. Maybe I overheard other people speaking, saying it out loud. Maybe I even heard other people addressing it. It's like he had a template to go off of. He either overhears other people that are patching things up and he's like, oh my God, that's how you come back into somebody's life if there's been a problem. You tell them point blank, God, I've wanted to fix things with you for a long time. You know what? I made a really big ass myself. It feels like he's like, those are the words to say. Oh my God, that's it. It's not even about, hi, I'm sorry. It's more like I own the imbalance. I can just verbalize it. I can spit it out. He needed to have like a template. And that's what this 3 of Cups is. By the way, strong Libra energy coming in now. 3 of Cups, one more time on that. This is his moment of inspiration. 6 of Wands. He also either likes the way he hears or overhears other people behaving. Maybe he sees this in a TV show. Maybe he overhears strangers. Whatever this is, it's that sudden, like, oh my God, I just saw it. And listening to it, observing it, seeing other people act this drama out and solve things has given me the idea that actually I thought highly of those people. They were actually patching things up. It's almost like he's role playing this in his mind, but by watching other people do it first. You guys had conflict, but you guys are coming back together. I'm watching you have a reunion. I'm seeing you guys, find a way to communicate to each other again, even though clearly one person was nervous that they wouldn't be accepted back into the fold. And it's like he's either overhearing it or observing it and saying, honestly, that looks like such a relief. It looks like the result also is that everyone's smiling. It doesn't look humiliating or scary. It looks like, I even think that he admired whatever he's observed, or it's starting to click in his head that like that is a better way to go than what he's been doing, which has been sitting up on the roof or sitting out here in the dark and mulling over and stewing over how unpleasant he's been feeling pretty unpleasant for a while about this. This is not a fun card to be in, the 4 of Cups. The regret, the missed opportunity, the mistake, and stewing in that is miserable. I can see how he's like, oh my God, it would be such a relief to instead get this off my chest. And now I have a template of how to do that. You don't come in with the I'm sorry first, because it's more than that. It's not just I'm sorry. That wouldn't encompass things. What it is I could own the fact that there was a bunch of things that were done wrong. There were a bunch of things that I screwed up on, or there were a bunch of things that I've had regret over. That is actually, I think, more meaningful to put it in that context than I'm sorry. Because it doesn't explain you're sorry for what, you're sorry about what. When you say there were so many things that were imbalanced, I was imbalanced. Actions that I took were imbalanced. Let me go to that Justice card real quick. I think he's got a way better plan on how to communicate. Knight of Wands, 6 of Swords, 3 of Pentacles. If he's saying I was imbalanced, I was all over the place, I didn't know if I was coming or going, then I ended up running away, or I was a mess, and I've thought a million times over of how to either write to you or how I would have done things different, or when we say what was imbalanced or unjust, this can be the player card, or it can just be somebody that was scattered, scattered and then eventually just walking away from something altogether. And remember, this was his 2 of Cups. This is him thinking night over night in the darkness, trying to write out what to say and not knowing how to say it. I feel like his mind was always like scattered, has always been busy. It's like he wants her to know, I've thought about this so much, more than you could ever dream, but haven't been able to like find the words that would come, from my heart, from my head, and pass through my lips. So many times I wrote text messages, I wrote letters, and I deleted them. That's what this looks like to me. This is a big breakthrough, a really big breakthrough for this person to finally have that moment where they know what to say, they know what to do. So final question here is, are you doing it? 5 of Pentacles. No matter how much time has passed, the answer here is yes. Maybe this is within the next 5 hours, but those pentacles are still on this tree, even though it's a frozen tundra here. Yes, I have to go ahead and take action, although I sat there all this time. I feel like this is like 5 years ago. This could be somebody from a long time ago who's having that epiphany right now. This is how I fix things, or this is how I reach out. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up.